Hey Indian Creek 8th grade students, it's Professor Blazek, and I'm here today with this video talking to you about Stave III of A Christmas Carol in our Reading Companion series. In this video we're going to be looking at some of the important characters and events from the third stave. So some things to consider while you're reading the third stave is the appearance of the second spirit, the ghost of Christmas present, and what that spirit represents, because as we know, each of the spirits in the book is symbolic of something, and it's very important to understand that as you're reading what the spirit is showing Scrooge and the impact that that's having upon Scrooge. As always, you want to track any changes in the old Scrooge's character, because the entire story is about how he changes from that old, cold, miserly man into hopefully a completely changed person. And there are a number of similarities among the many scenes that Scrooge and the second spirit visit, so it's important to keep those in mind. You want to look at Christmas in the homes of the poor, because as we have seen earlier in the story, the poor are the ones who really seem to enjoy and celebrate Christmas, whereas some of the rich characters like Scrooge do not care as much for Christmas. So it's important to understand just what Christmas means to poor people and their families. And then also at the very end of the stave, there are two beings that the ghost of Christmas present carries with him that he shows to Scrooge, and these are really symbolic and really important to understand, so that's something to keep in mind towards the end of the stave as well. So for characters that are introduced in the third stave, obviously first and foremost is the ghost of Christmas present. He is the second spirit to visit Scrooge. He is described as a giant who is sitting on basically a throne made out of all different sorts of wonderful food. As you can see from the picture, he carries an enchanted torch that can brighten the lives of all people. We'll see throughout the stave that he sprinkles some of this magic from his torch onto people, and it just instantly makes everyone go into just celebrating the Christmas season, to being in good moods. And he looks to make Christmas a true celebration. You know, he is all about the food and the family and the good times that are connected with Christmas. And this is important because back during the time that Dickens was writing this book, Christmas feasts were the most popular way of celebrating the holiday. This is why the ghost is so closely tied to food. And also because for poor families, you know, a lot of gifts probably wouldn't be affordable during this time, but really setting aside money for one really good meal was something that a lot of families could do, and this was just very, very closely tied to the Christmas celebration, was having this really good feast, and this spirit really embodies that. Now, some other characters that are introduced in this stave is, first of all, Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim is Bob Cratchit's crippled son. When the spirit takes Scrooge back to see the Cratchit family celebrating Christmas, we see Tiny Tim for the first time. He walks with a crutch. He is clearly very sick, but despite his physical ailments, he has just an incredibly positive attitude, and he brings a lot of hope and a lot of joy to his family and to others, and he really acts as an inspiration. You know, in other words, if Tiny Tim can be this positive and be this good of a person, even though he's poor and even though he is not in good health, then there's really no excuse for anybody else to have anything but the positive outlook that he has. So he is just really the epitome of staying positive, of love, of celebration, of family, and he really comes to represent this throughout the novel. And then we also meet the rest of the Cratchit family. There are a number of children. There's Bob's wife. And while they are a poor family, they only treat each other with love, and they celebrate Christmas with a feast, and the feast is nothing special. You know, there's There's very little grandeur in it. You know, the food is not of the highest quality, but they are so appreciative of this time to come together to celebrate, of the effort that they all have put into making the feast. And so that is really what Christmas is about to the Cratchit family, more so than just what food they could afford or what gifts they could afford. They spend their time enjoying each other's company, enjoying the food that they have, and just celebrating the fact that they are all together. Now, we also see in the stave what exactly Christmas means for many of the poor members of the society at this time. So first of all, we see the entire Christmas scene from the Cratchit family, where the entire family comes together, everyone plays their role in getting the feast ready, and they literally eat all of it. They enjoy all of it. They leave nothing to waste, and then they spend the rest of the evening celebrating and enjoying each other's company. Now, again, the family is not very well off. You know, we see a lot of different signs of the fact that they are quite poor, but they do not allow this to get in the way of celebrating this most joyous day with each other. And then in other scenes, we see the Spirit take Scrooge and shows him, you know, sailors out on the ocean by themselves, miners who are working on the outskirts of society. He takes them to Fred's own Christmas party. And in each scene, there is nothing but joy shown by these poor people in greeting the Christmas season. So it really goes to show Scrooge that no matter how bleak the people's lives might be, no matter how far removed from society, no matter how poor they might be, every one of these people is able to enjoy and celebrate the Christmas season. And it really has an effect on Scrooge to see that if all these people can enjoy the season, there's absolutely no reason for him to be so negative and so miserly. So that's it for this video in looking at some of the important characters and scenes in Stave III. I'll be back with another video soon on some of the important passages from Stave III. And until then, this has been Professor Blazek, signing off.